have a crush on like everybody I talk to, and male, female, dog, cat, whatever. I can't have a crush on this guy because he's just like a little brother to me. I've known him for so long, it would just be incestuous. But uh, my friend, Grant Baciocco, who you have seen everywhere, even though you've never seen him anywhere. Grant, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's so good to see you.
It's so
And
good to be seen.
I was thinking, was it like the stand-up comedy news group where we first
Yes.
connected, like back in the Usenet days?
Back in the early 90s, late 80s.
Yeah,
Oh, those were fun years for stand up. You
yeah.
were were you from LA originally?
No, I'm originally from Burlingame, California, which is up near San
That's
Francisco.
Yes, because I lived in Moss Beach,
Oh, there
California,
you go.
which is also San Mateo County. Like,
Yeah.
so how does a boy from San Mateo County, like Greg Proops and you, end up in LA? Like, what were you a child saying, I'm going to be a famous actor and stand up and musician?
No, I always loved to perform and I always loved to put on shows. Like if my parents had company over and there were other kids, I was like, all right, here's what we're doing. You're gonna sing this, you're gonna pretend you're playing the drums, and we're gonna do a performance. So I was always like that. Um, but I actually when I was in high school, I got really into special effects makeup. And I really wanted to I saw the movie Summer School with Chainsaw and Dave, where they came in, and I was just like, oh my God, this is what I want to do. And so at the time, and so I would read Fangoria magazine and I would learn how, like just research on how to do it. And at the time, this was 90, like
Bruh.
91, 90, around in there. Um, the only places you could get a degree in like effects makeup like that
Yeah.
was the Conservatory of Cincinnati and Cal State Long Beach. Those were the only two places.
One
And
of
so
them
I
was
was like, well,
close
Cal State Long Beach, it's closer than Cincinnati. So
and
I
cheaper.
and cheaper. And it's the only place I applied and I got in.
Yes.
And so I was very excited. And like the head professor of makeup, I wrote him a letter like when I was a sophomore, and I was like, "This is what I want to do," and I just think it's awesome. And he wrote back and it was like, "This is fantastic. Do well in high school so you can get down here and you can learn it." He was
Yay.
really great. And then I wrote to him again like my junior year because we were doing Dracula and I wanted his advice for like how to do the stake through the heart.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he wrote back like a whole like diagram of like this is how I would do it if you wanted to do it. You could do it like
Exactly.
this. And then my senior year I was just too busy. I didn't write to him. And this was before email, so like right before email. Um so I went down to Cal State Long Beach the day to pick my classes, and
Uh-huh.
in those days they gave you a big catalog of classes with
I
all the classes in it.
remember.
Yeah. And my catalog fell off the desk while I was there picking classes, and I picked it up by the back cover, and the very last page was in memoriam, and his name was the first name listed, and he had
Oh,
passed away the summer before I got there.
that bastard. He'd do anything
Yeah.
to get out of teaching you. That's
Absolutely. Yeah. Just but and what I quickly found out was there were other makeup teachers, but he was kind of the department.
Oh
Um
no.
so like he was
He was the
like the other
Savini.
teachers were great, but
Yeah. But he was the Tom Savini and the Stan.
yeah.
Oh
So then I
man.
was just like, well, I'm here. I'll do acting and directing because I love doing that too. I was on all the productions in high school, so
That's
I was like, I'll just do that.
just, in LA, you're so close to LA, you can get work, even
Yeah.
as an extra. So that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. I didn't know that about you. I did not know that you were, because I also went into special effects for the same reason. It's something hit me when I was a kid. It wasn't Dean Cameron, but it was, who will be on the show eventually. I know him. I'm going to drag him in there.
Yeah, that
Um,
movie was I watched that movie so many times. And then I met him at a Chris Mancini and I did or Chris Mancini did a comedy show at a Borders Books, and
uh-huh.
Dean was there, and I was just like, I can't believe, like you're the reason I'm in Southern California.
Did he apologize?
No, he was very nice. He was very cool about it.
He's a sweetheart, and his wife is a sweetheart, and they have a kid now. And oh my God, it's adorable. He's doing music now full time.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
look
Yeah.
him up. You can look him up. He's doing great stuff. I'm gonna drag him on the show, kicking and screaming. But Oh, that's so cool. So did you do music while you were doing the theater stuff while you were in college?
No, I was a huge Dr. Demento fan. And I was actually just thinking about this because Dr. Demento just announced he's going to retire and his last show is going to be in October. But he's been doing it for like 50 years.
I
So
know, basically
God
since
bless
our
him.
whole lives. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was thinking because he's doing these retrospective shows now, and he just did 90 to 94, 1990 to 1994. And I was like, man, this is when I went to college and I didn't have a curfew. I didn't have, parents saying you got to go to bed. And I could listen every Sunday night to the show. And
Right.
that inspired me to, well, yeah, I guess I wrote my first song in between junior and senior year and sent it into him.
Oh, that's
And he
cool.
played like a little snippet of it, and that inspired me to keep going.
Dr. Demento,
Um,
listen to me. That's
yeah,
so our band, we were Dutch Falcone and his Twisted Orchestra did a few songs, and one of them was a cannibal soup song, which ended up on Dr. Demento. So
excellent.
potatoes, carrots, and you.
Yeah,
It
it's a big deal. It's a big deal to get on the show. It was
was
like,
amazing. I mean, look what
yeah,
happened to Hell. Whatever happened to that guy?
yeah,
Everybody that I used to live for Dr. Demento when I was a kid, for the same reason, it was like, Spike. Oh my God, Spike Jones. Oh, who's this?
yeah,
Who's that? Who's this? Victor Borga. What is this guy doing? Oh, Ernie Kovac songs. What is this? Just fall in love with everybody.
yeah. For me, it
Um,
was Stan Freberg. Stan Freberg was like, as soon as I heard Stan Freberg
I
in the
was waiting. Yeah,
history of the United States, I was like, this is one of the greatest things that's ever been made.
or
And I wouldn't have
the
heard it if it
Hopi
weren't for
song,
Dr. Demento.
the Hopi song, Hopi song, Hopi.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure you still sing. Shaving cream. So, what? You actually got to meet Dr. Demento not not too long after that, right?
Yeah, well, actually, I was listening to the show all the time, and then, um, I he did a live event at the Ice House in Pasadena,
Mhm.
and it was like a Halloween, a special. It was in the annex room. It was like a Halloween special show where he was going to play stuff he couldn't play on the radio. So of course I went. That must have been like like 93 or something like that,
And for those who don't
94.
know, the annex room is about the size of your living room, maybe.
Yeah, it's a small,
Yeah.
little small space. And I went in and I was with my girlfriend at the time and we sat down. And then right before the show started, Weird Al and his girlfriend at the time came in and sat down at the table next to me. And I was just like, I don't know where to look. Like, because I was just this a huge fan of both of them, and I was just
Who
like,
would have been in her hysterics?
and
I
I
would have
was so
lost it.
nervous. My girlfriend was making fun of me. My arm started twitching because I was so nervous. I was just like, I don't like this is overload. I can't. And they're both very nice. I met them afterwards. Um,
And
and
Al like vegan, the big hair. His hair was big, big, big when he was younger, and
yeah,
the
yeah.
face, the porn stash, and everything.
He was very patient. He was very patient with my fanning out over him.
As he should be, because I've
And
when
then
I
I brought my senior year, I was an RA in the dorms, a residential assistant. And so we all had to do a project we had to do a project, like a not community, but like a dorm project that people could come to. So whether it was a movie or whatever. And then I was like, could I bring Dr. Demento here to do a live show like he did there? And I wrote to him and I was like, how much would this cost? And he gave me a price and I was so nervous. I remember we had to pitch it and I was so nervous, like asking the board, like, it's going to be $3,000. And they were like, yep, sure, we can do it. And so we brought my senior year, we brought him there. And I thought, it was one of those things where I was like, is this something only I like? But the place was packed. Like the
I was
place
going
was
to say
absolutely packed with people. So it was
that's
awesome.
so cool. I'm so glad that you guys got to meet because I know that he was a huge influence on a lot of what you do. And so you're graduating college. There's so many jobs in directing and acting. Those must have my glasses just escaped my face. My auntie. All right, we'll put them up here. So you graduating college. You're deciding, should I surf for the rest of my life because you're in Long Beach, and you're from San Mateo, or actually you're a Bayside, so you weren't even surfing in the Bay.
Yeah,
So
no,
what?
and I'm not a beach person. I went to my entire 4 years at Cal State Long Beach. I went to the beach like 3 times, and one was like I had to because it was for a class.
Oh, Jesus.
So yeah, it was like a marine biology class.
Did
So
you
I'm
have
not a
Will
beach person.
Ferrell in any of your classes, or was he was older than you? So
Yeah, no,
yeah.
yeah.
because I know that's the other big guy from Long Beach besides you. Um, so you're graduating. Then what happens? Do you just decide, hey, I need to do something for the arts? What am I going to do?
I moved home for a year. I moved back up to Burlingame for for about a year,
Mm.
and because Dr. Demento had played me on the show, I was like, oh, I want to do more. I want to write more songs like that, but um, I did not know how to play any instrument. All the songs that I recorded, I had somebody else playing guitar.
I didn't
So
realize that. I thought you'd been playing the whole time. Oh my
no,
goodness.
no. I was like, I got to figure out how to do this. And so my mom had an old nylon string guitar that was hers from college. And I was like, can I play around with this? And my mom was like, yep. My parents are always very supportive. My parents were
Well, if they're
my
throwing you on drums and stuff, sure.
yeah, I come from a long line of sheet metal workers. And my dad, I think my dad had such a hard time kind of with his dad as his boss. My dad
Oh,
was just like, do what you're going to do. Just go, you don't have to work here. They were always very supportive. So I got the guitar and I was at the time, a huge Bare Naked Ladies fan.
mhm.
And this was right at the beginning of the internet where you could
People didn't
look
know who
up.
they were at first either. You were one of the firsties.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had seen them. Actually, went back in college. I had seen them because of a friend of mine's band opened for them.
Oh, that's great.
And I thought they were great, but I didn't know that. I didn't even realize that they had CDs and stuff out. And it wasn't until later I was like, oh yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah, they
Uh,
started in the college circuit, the
yeah,
ACAs and stuff pulling them out. It's yeah, and then they hit.
yeah. And so I would look online, like, and this was old dial-up modem times. I would look online and found guitar tabs and learn how to play their songs. And then I would just rearrange the guitar tabs and go, okay, this sounds. So I started writing my own songs, and I went to open mics in San Francisco. That's where I
That's great. Did
just
you go to
started.
Holy City Zoo?
No,
Oh,
no.
no.
Um,
That was
the
probably
big thing
golf by the
was
time you got
it
there.
was mostly just open mics, just like random open mics until I think I got on stage at the Punchline on their Sunday night showcase twice.
Uh-huh.
And then the second time was right before I moved back down to Southern California because I knew like I was just like up here there's one open mic a week. In San Francisco there's one open mic a night.
Yeah.
But in Los Angeles, there's like 5 open mics a night, and you
Yes.
can perform all over the place. And
And
I don't
that's
know
what
if that
people
was the
would
right
do. There
move,
would
but
be
that's
like
what I did.
mobs of people like, are you going to go to improv? Yeah, yeah. Did you sign up at 4 o'clock at the Comedy Store? Yeah. Did you sign up at 3 o'clock at the improv? Yeah. Okay. I'll see you at the LA Cabaret. Sure. It was
Yeah.
like that. It was totally. And then were you one of the people down at the 3rd Street Promenade doing stuff at the Barnes and Noble or whatever the bookstore was?
No, Chris Mancini ran a show. You know what? I got really lucky because I was also at the time a Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan. I had discovered that in high school. And I heard that Frank Conniff from Mystery Science Theater 3000 ran a show called Frank's Chop House at this dirty burger place on I think it was on Hollywood Boulevard. This like you would never if you were walking past here, you would never go in, but they had a back room.
Uh-huh.
And so I went because I was like, "Oh, I might be able to meet Frank and that would be cool to meet Frank."
Perfect.
And
Yeah.
during the show, Jeremy Kramer was the MC who's just brilliant and hilarious. And
Mhm.
he did something like or how many comics are here? Like and so like I just applauded because I had been doing this stand up as throwing toasters.
Yeah.
And after the show, he came up and he was like, "You're a comic?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, what do you do?" And I go, "Oh, I do like songs." And he goes, "Well, bring your guitar next week. We'll put you up and we'll do a song."
Aw.
And then I quickly realized it was like everybody else in this room was Frank Conniff, Patton Oswalt, Maria Bamford, Mr. Lawrence, who was Plankton on SpongeBob,
Yep.
like all these. And then I forget, I'm blanking on her name, but she played Alice in the Brady Bunch movies.
Oh,
Is it Henriette? I want to say Henriette Mantel, but I don't know if that's the correct name.
I don't remember her name. If only there
Anyway,
was a way to look these up. Okay.
like she was a writer on a show, and I remember one night we're in seriously, this is like this dirty dive, like the tables were sticky, you didn't want to touch anything. And she came in a full gown and she had just won an Emmy. And she was just like, I just wanted to say hello. I won an Emmy and I'll see you all later. And like everyone, they got a
That's so
big
cool.
applause. And so I didn't realize that like looking back, it was like you lucked into this amazing place because
Yeah,
this was like an insider thing that you just happened to stumble onto.
that was
And then
so
I started
cool.
doing things there, and I think that's where I met Chris Mancini, and
Wow.
he started booking me on shows, and Jeremy Kramer would book me on things. So um,
And where
it was
did you
great.
get the name? So you started as throwing toast. The story of throwing toasters is pretty funny.
Um,
Poor Timmy.
yes, yeah. Uh, I was an RA in the dorms. It was my senior year, and so I was kind of doing this that writing songs with a friend playing guitar, and I was like, oh, I need a name. And in one of our RA meetings, this other RA, Gary, was saying he was talking about a problem that two roommates in his building were having. And he was like, "Well, these two guys they don't like each other, and they're just they're at each other's throats all the time, and so it's really kind of a pain." And the coordinator goes, "Well, how bad is it?" And he goes, "Well, it's not so bad that they're throwing toasters yet, but it's pretty bad." And so at the time, I was just writing down names that I thought would be funny band names. And then throwing toasters just stuck. That was that. I go, that sounds like the most band name. And then the joke was that it was a full band. There were three other guys, Dirk, Musty, and Timmy.
Right.
But something would always happen and they'd never be able to make it to the show. So it was always just me.
Yeah.
So, whether like the bus broke down or their flight was delayed or they're just something good on TV tonight. That's what it was.
Yeah, I remember one of the shows you did. Maybe it was the ACS one. Like, I just got a message from Timmy. Yeah, he's stuck at the LAX. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, it was great.
Yeah.
So this thing happened, and you're getting booked left and right. Stupidly talented, like super super talented. The songs were great. The writing was perfect, and suddenly you discover that you can also be on the internet and doing really cool things. How did this go about?
What are you asking about specifically?
Specifically, when you were teaching school at the time, weren't you? And you started your internet?
I was okay, about the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was doing I was a substitute teacher in Glendale because when I moved back down here, I had started subbing up in the San Francisco Bay Area,
Now,
and
now
then
I
I was
have to
like,
say, you're the only person I know who doesn't call it Glendale.
oh.
So,
Well, I applied both in Burbank and Glendale, and Burbank wasn't hiring, and Glendale was. And then I would work so much there it was really great. And actually, 2 years into doing it, I got into this one school, and I just knew every day I would be going to this one school to fill in for somebody, and I almost became like a teacher over there. So it was
that's
really great because it was steady. But then when I started doing Barbara Holiday, who owns Flappers
yeah,
Comedy Club in
great
Burbank.
club.
She was at the time she was managing comedians, and so I started doing the college stuff, and then I realized that one college show paid more than 25 days substitute teaching, which is not how it should work.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's how it worked, and so I was like, oh, if I do two college gigs a month, I don't have to substitute,
that's
so
right.
that's great. So I slowly started slowing down the substitute teaching because it wasn't towards the end, like I did it for like 7 years, I think. And towards the end, I was like really getting burnt out on it.
Yeah, it's
Um,
brave to be for. It always amazes me that people could do that for a lifetime. Just
yeah. Yeah. And
amazing.
I had stopped doing it. And this one who was a really good friend of mine, this one teacher, she was like, can you just come back for one day? This was like a year after. She was like, can you just come back for one day? And it's a good class. It'll all be good. Please just come back. And I went back for one day and I was like, by 9 o'clock, I was like, why did I agree to this? I should not have agreed to this at all. Um, but then, yeah. And it was all during that time. I got well, anyway, so I got the first DVD set of Rocky and Bullwinkle, which I remembered as a kid.
Mhm.
And what really inspired me was that I didn't realize as a kid was that all the little stories, the Rocky and Bullwinkle stories, were this huge arc that would
Yes,
would take over like 30 episodes of the show to tell this one story.
Boris
And
and
I just thought that
Natasha.
was really great, these little
Yeah.
bite-sized things. Um, and at the time, I with this friend who I'd met working at Disneyland, because I worked at Disneyland for 2 years in
What did you
college.
do there?
I was a Jungle Cruise skipper. That was the
Oh
main thing. So it
I,
all makes
I was
sense.
Porky Pig in Magic Mountain, so
There you
you
go.
totally get it. Totally
Yeah.
get it.
Um, And I had met this guy there, and we started working like we started because at the time there was still public access television. So we were
Ah,
like, oh, we should create a show and do it for public access. So we created these characters, Dr. Floyd and Dr. Steve, and I played Dr. Grant. I was just myself, but Dr. Floyd was a puppet,
mhm.
and Dr. Steve was a puppet. Anyway, and we didn't know how to build puppets. We were just doing it in our one bedroom apartment. He would come over and help me build these puppets, and we were shooting it in the
Wow.
apartment. And then this was like right before Final Cut Pro was a thing, like where you could edit on your computer.
Right.
So we were paying a discount price of $50 per hour to edit on a big tape deck machine.
Oh,
Um,
and I could have done it for free because I was at Cal Arts, but yes, I
oh,
remember.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And well, what happened was we ran out of money, like because it cost so much to edit, and
Oh,
so we edited 1.5 episode, half-hour episodes. But
mhm.
then we had these characters, and I was like, at the time, I was also doing an internet radio show.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
you were doing all sorts of stuff at this. It just like whatever something was new, you were there. You were on
I
it.
was trying, yeah, I'm really fascinated with like when there's new technology, I go, how can I use this? How can I do a show? It's like when the parents were coming, the people coming over to the house. It's like, how
Yeah.
can I put on a show with this audience?
Get me a drum kit.
And so I was just like, well, we have these characters. What if we did like an old time radio show? And
Mhm.
that's where I saw the Rocky and Bullwinkle thing. And they can just be little segments that will all tie together, and you could just do these little episodes. And so April 2004 was when I started, and I would just assemble them in GarageBand because we finally had GarageBand on the
Oh,
computers, and I was
good old days. Yeah.
and actually my friend Doug, who was Dr. Floyd, he was living in Florida at the time, and like he had a Radio Shack microphone, so he would record his lines and send them to me, and I would edit them.
Oh my
And
goodness.
then we so that was April, and we did an episode a week for like from April, and then in September, no, it was yeah, end of September 2004, there was a Wired article somebody had linked to online that was about podcasting.
Yes.
And it was like this new thing, podcasting, where if you have a show, you can deliver it directly to the listeners. And I was like, this is like will be big for this is perfect for Dr. Floyd. And like the greatest thing ever was we already had like 25 episodes
Yeah.
done.
You guys
And,
were already like the product was there. You just
yeah.
had to have the market, and they're the market affairs.
Yeah,
That's
and
pretty
so I figured
awesome.
like I spent the month of October figuring out how to do it because at the time you had to hand code your RSS feed and all this other stuff, and
Yes.
it was such a pain. And then we put out the first episode on November 7th, and the
Wow.
amazing thing was it was literally there were like 100 podcasts, and we all knew each other,
Mhm.
and you had two extremes. You had like Don and Drew, who were very big, like early days of podcasting. They were
Yeah, they were like
huge.
the Howard Sternish kind of guys, right?
Yeah, like they
Yeah.
were, Don and Drew were like, we can say whatever we want. We can swear, we can do whatever. And then the other side, who took to it right away were the churches.
Churches, yes.
Because priests were like, well, I'm doing a sermon every week. I could record it and put it out as a podcast. And
Mhm.
so we were like this sweet spot in the middle where we were not dirty, but we were entertaining. And it took off. And at the height of our thing, and this may not in today's numbers, it might not sound huge, but we were getting like 80,000 downloads a month,
Dude,
which was
huge,
crazy.
huge. I
Yeah.
remember when you guys hit Apple Music, and I got an email from you saying, "Oh yeah, we're on Apple Music," and I'm like, "What? Okay." And I started downloading you guys from Apple Music. This is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, when Apple launched its podcast thing, we were one of the top squares
Yeah,
on the first week that they launched it. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. It was a fun time.
it was pretty cool. Yeah, you guys, you were a pioneer. You were a pioneer in almost everything you do. You were like the first guy or the first one of the people to think about doing stuff. And that,
I'm just early enough to not make any money on it. I really get in there and then not make any money. That's how it's story of my life.
dude, I just started this thing in April. I mean, I'm excited because I've got 50 regular subscribers on the YouTube channel. I've got
Yeah.
5,000 on Blue Sky and stuff, but it's like I'm amazed at 50 people. I was like, thank you,
Yeah.
those 50 people. I love you, man.
Well, even today, like I'm, we'll talk about the stuff I'm doing now, but I go to these meetings with like YouTube and TikTok and whatever, like these creator meetings, and it really is true. It's like you when we were doing comedy, we would love to have a room of 50 people who wanted to see what we were doing.
Exactly.
So if you get 1,000 people who watch your video, it's like that's crazy. And then I remember in one meeting, someone's like, "What's the capacity of Madison Square Garden?" And I was like, "I don't know." And like somebody said it, and he goes, "Yeah, so if you've got a video that has more views than the capacity, more people than fit in Madison Square Garden have seen your stuff." So, yeah, I don't take for granted ever like those low numbers because you would
I
love to
love
have an
every
audience
single
of 50
person.
people.
Exactly. It just reminds me, I working in Vegas. You do shows one night a week in a strip club, or you do shows whatever. You're going to have an audience of five if the bus doesn't arrive.
Yeah,
You're going to have an audience of 350 if the bus does. Same kind of thing. It's like they all showed up. I'm here. They didn't
yeah,
show up. I'm still here. Still
yeah.
work out here. So the next step for you, you're doing this podcast, you're making these puppets, and you're knowing people who are doing MST3K. Is this kind of what leads you into the next step of your world? What kind of helped you go to that
Um,
next step?
You know what it is was when we started building the puppets for Dr. Floyd, we
Hmm.
were like Doug was kind of a guy who was just like, I'm just going to figure out how to build this and build it. So he's hot gluing felt to styrofoam balls and all this. And like I was kind of like, but I think there's like a way to make Muppet style puppets
Yeah,
that's
use
not felt
dowels.
glued onto. And he
There's
was and
armatures and there's dowels and there's things. Yeah.
yeah, there's foam and fleece and all this stuff. And I admire like listen, I'm a big proponent's not the right word, but I'm a big believer in use what you have and just start and then
Yeah,
improve as you go along. Because
exactly.
that's
Best way to learn.
yeah. And Dr. Floyd, we were editing on GarageBand using Shure M58 microphones. So it's
Wow.
like use what you have,
Hmm.
just get going.
Yep.
Um, and so I sent, this was before you could look up on YouTube how to do anything. And there was a book by a guy named Drew Allison called The Foam Book. And it was a book on how to build puppets. And so it was old days. I sent him a check in the mail.
Uh-huh.
6 to 8 weeks later, the book comes in the mail. It was quicker than that, but um,
But
and
it
then
was
this was
snail
like
mail. So
yeah, step by step on how to build this puppet and
wow.
how to build puppets. And so I started getting into that, and then um, somebody at the Jim Henson Company was a friend of a friend
Mm.
and they were looking for puppeteers. This was 2003. They were looking for puppet enthusiasts
Mm.
because they were pitching a Muppet show that would be America's Next Muppet. So this is when American Idol was like super huge,
Oh,
right?
that's hilarious.
So it
That's
was
cool.
America's Next Muppet, and so they were looking for people, and they said, "Hey, would you want to come do this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so I had this puppet that I built. Barbara Holiday uh, said, "I have another client who's a dog trainer and wants a dog puppet. Could you build one?" And I said, and I had only ever built one puppet before, and I
Sure.
said, "Yeah, sure." And they go, "Well,
Naturally.
how much would it cost?" And I was like, "I don't know, $100." And it was like, so stupid of me to just say $100 because it cost
But
me
in
in
dog
time.
pups, that would have been,
Yeah,
700 bucks.
yeah. So I said so I built this puppet. So they said, "Oh, just bring your puppet. You'll come and we'll tell you what to do once you get there." So I got there and there's some other puppeteers and there was like a couple people who I kind of thought were Muppet puppeteers, but they were going by different names. And I was like, why? Like, that's not this person. Why are
Yeah.
they saying this is very strange? And but I was just going along with it. And so they go, okay, Grant, you're ready. Get your puppet. Walk down. Big sound stage on the Henson Company lot, which is no longer the Henson Company lot, but
Oh, yeah.
in LA. And walk down this pathway, up these steps, and then out onto the stage, and they'll take it from there. Well, I have my stupid puppet that I made with hot glue and foam and felt and everything. I'm walking down this hallway, walk up the steps, walk out. Kermit the Frog is like 3 feet from me and then we're on this raised platform, and then down below is Miss Piggy, Gonzo, and Pepe. And so I had no idea that that's what that was going to be like. So I was just like, huh, like this. Um, and then I had planned like I was going to do a song as an audition. And then my idea was because this dog character was a it was a female dog,
Love it.
and Princess Sabrina, that was her
Oh,
name. And I was just going in. I was like, okay, Miss Piggy is her idol, and she wants to pattern her career off of Miss Piggy.
oh,
And
brilliant.
so right at the top, like everyone in the room instantly got that, and Miss Piggy was like, "Wow, what is that?" Like real, like, "I don't need you." And then when I sang my little song, Gonzo's like, "Well, it's
Right,
pretty
right.
good," and Pepe's like, "Yeah, she could totally replace you, Miss Piggy." And it created this great little dynamic where, yeah. So after they were done for the day, Bill Beretta, who was Pepe the Prawn, came
Uh-huh.
out to me and was like, "That was brilliant." And this was just like a sizzle reel. It wasn't like a real competition,
So
but he
it
was
was just
just
like,
like,
yeah, a
he,
proof of concept kind of thing.
yeah, and he was like, "You won this. You were the best of all, who came in." And then he the show never went anywhere. And years later, I have now finally seen the footage
Uh-huh.
of the thing, and it was like the other like Paul Rubens and David Arquette came in as ventriloquist, like a dual ventriloquist act.
Oh my
And like
God.
I didn't see them when they were there. And there were all these people who were like, I can't believe that I was part of this dumb thing, and
But it
it's
was
really
amazing.
amazing.
It was
Yeah.
amazing. I love Sweep Sweep. I mean, I love Sweep Sweeps. I love pilot weeks because there's no telling what you're gonna find or who you're gonna find or where you're gonna find them. It's like, oh, I just did a show with who?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know Ice Cube was gonna be in this, but all right, we're gonna do this. Right on. It's
Well,
fun.
then it was funny because I have been very lucky to get to work with Bill several times since then. But Bill always goes, "Someday I got to tell you what happened with that show because the story is crazy." And so every time I see him, he tells me, "Someday I got to tell you," and I'm like, "You got to tell me this story."
Yeah, tell
Um,
them what happened to the teacher on you.
yeah.
Jeez, it's like, dude, if you don't tell me now, this might happen. So, it
Um,
might not be the chance.
but then one of the other puppeteers who was in that thing, and I was right. It was they brought in some Muppet puppeteers to be ringers and to kind of like cause trouble, to
Uh-huh.
kind of
Like a mole.
because it's like reality TV show. They want
Sure.
drama backstage. And so this one puppeteer, Leslie Carrara Rudolph,
Uh-huh.
she was just like, "I'm no good." Like she's backstage, like she's like, "This is not going to be good." And I was like, "You're going to be great. Don't worry." And like in my head, I'm going, "You're a Muppet puppeteer. Why are you so worried about this? This is
The
crazy."
slap out of it.
Yeah, but and it was all just a big act. And then, but right shortly after that, and so I became friends with her because she was like, "I'm doing this show. Could you come see my show?" And I became kind of friends with her, and I'm still friends with her to this day. And right after that, Jim Henson Company started Puppet Up, which is their live on stage puppet improv show.
That's cool.
And I saw Leslie, and Leslie knew that I did stand up, and she was like, "You would be great in Puppet Up because you're a strong enough puppeteer, and you're funny, and you know
And
how to
you're on your
perform on
feet.
stage."
You're like
Yeah, so
this.
she was like, "You'll be really good." So she talked to Patrick Bristow, who was still the co-creator and director with Brian Henson of the show, and Patrick's like, "Yeah, just come by, and we'll." There was two classes at the time. There were improvisers learning puppetry, and there were puppeteers learning improv. And when I found out about that, I go, "Oh, well, I'm going to learn puppetry because I don't know." But
Yeah.
they were like, "No, your puppetry's strong enough. You're going to learn the improv style that we do here." And I think my first class was in 2007, and it's been I just performed 2 weeks ago at the Henry Fonda Theater, or the Kirk Douglas Theater,
Mark Douglas there. I was gonna say,
uh,
I
in
remember that. Yeah.
in Culver City. Yeah, just 2 weeks ago, and it's the most fun thing I get to do is puppet up.
So it's amazing that you get to do that because I know just the idea of the path that your career has been one of these things that every time anybody asks me, oh, if you could look at three or four people in your career that have done really well, who would you point out? And I always think of you right away because it's like
Oh,
this
thank
guy
you.
has done like he's every opportunity has been this wide swinging open doors, and he has just dove head first into them, which I admire so much. It's just if you don't take the opportunities, you're never going to get anywhere.
Thank you. I also feel that it's because being in comedy or being in acting or whatever, there's times where you're not working. And it's
Yeah,
like I can't just not work. I have to work on a podcast. I have to work on finding out how to edit videos. I have to, and like now I'm at the age, I'm 51. I just turned 51 in May, but I'm at
I
the
know.
age.
I'm a full 10 years old.
Well, it's like I hear people who are, older than me, but people who I've worked with and stuff. There's some puppeteers and stuff where it's like, yeah, I'm getting ready to retire, and I go, I can't even imagine
I,
retiring because I love doing this and I love creating, and so I'll be near poverty for the rest of my life, but living off one job for a year, but
Look, you can have a career or you can go into the arts. I'm going
yeah.
to the arts. Sorry, my dogs are singing opera. We're just going to ignore them right now. Okay, they went to the other room. This is amazing, though. Now tell me about Toiley.
Well, Toyley was
Just peeking over your shoulder.
yeah, he's right back over here. There he
Yes.
is, right there. He's always watching. Um, well, I mean, Leslie Corral Rudolph. It's actually Leslie Corral Rudolph. Leslie Corral Rudolph, who's that puppeteer who got me into Puppet Up. She
Mhm.
is Abby Cadabby on Sesame Street. Um,
Oh, that's a great character.
yeah, yeah. And it was that character is her. Like that character when they made they had big auditions, but everyone going in the auditions were like, "This is Leslie. Leslie's gonna get this. Like this is." Um, so so she has her own character called Lolly Lard Pup, which is
Oh,
a like just a little sock puppet, really hilarious character that she does. And she created a show about it.
mhm.
That's like a kid show. And so she knew that I did video editing and audio stuff and all this stuff. And she was like, can you help me shoot these vignettes that will show during the show while I go backstage? And I said, yes. And then she started touring the show and she was like, well, will you come on the road? Because you know how to run these video things. And I was like, yeah. And then her music director is this guy named John B. DeHaas.
Uh-huh.
And we met working on this and like instantly like our sense of humors were
Like,
exactly alike, just
nice,
really funny. And like, like we just clicked right away. And then
nice.
when the show went to Austin, John and I had to share a hotel room. This was, I think, 2013, 2014. And
You're
so we
so
had
much
to
better
share.
at dates than I am. This is great.
Um, well, I write everything down. I have these little creative journals
I was gonna
where
say you're gonna have the book coming out.
at the end of every day, I just write down what I did that day.
That's
So that
smart.
that helps because I don't have a good memory. Um, but so at the time, I had a bag because I was so into puppets. I had a bag of googly eyes, self-adhesive googly eyes, and if there was anything that remotely looked like a face, I was putting two googly eyes on it, and just constantly. And one day I was in the hotel room and John was not there. He was off. I don't know whatever he was doing, and there was a spare roll of toilet paper, and I just took it. And the way I was trying to think if I have because I have one of the original. I don't know where it is. Anyway, I think it's in these boxes behind the green screen. But he, there was a circle on the thing that looked like a mouth, so I just put two eyes on it, and then I put it on John's pillow. And then when John came in, he's like, "Oh, we went to this." He's like, "What is this? Get this off of my pillow!" And he throws it, and I just start going, "I just want to be your friend, John. Why? Why are you being so mean to me? I just want to be your friend." So for the whole rest of the trip, I would put him places and be like, "John, are we gonna go out later? What are we doing? I just want to be friends." And then John lives in Orlando, Florida. He works at a theme park operated by a mouse. He plays piano there. He's super, super talented, just a
Nothing
genius
about piano
musician.
players.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's been there for years. And so I would leave him voice messages from Toyley that would just be like 3 minutes long of Toyley saying what he's doing in Hollywood. And he went out for this audition and he did all this stuff for like a full year. And so he would just have these crazy stories of what Toyley is doing out here. And then he had done a bunch of shows at the Orlando Fringe Festival.
Oh,
And
nice.
he was like, we should put this into a show at the Orlando Fringe Festival. And I was like, okay, well, how would we do it? And he's like, well, you're a puppeteer, just make it a puppet. So Toiley had existed for like a year before it was even like it's going to be a puppet, you know.
That's great. That's great.
And so then I had my friend Russ Walco, brilliant puppet builder,
Mhm.
build Toiley for me. And so we did those shows. We did shows at the Hollywood Fringe. And at the time, like a little bit before that,
Mhm.
Vine was a thing. And I
Yes.
had a puppet character called Uncle Interloper. He's a horrible name, but he's a dog character. Um, and he had like at the time on Vine, he had like 13,000 followers, and it was really great just doing these little 6-second videos. So I was like, oh, I should put Toiley on social media too. And so I
Mhm.
started doing like Toiley got in right at the very end of Vine, so he didn't really do well because it was right when Vine was shutting down.
Sure. That
And
would be my kind of luck.
yeah, get in right as they, as they banned
See?
TikTok. Yeah. So so anyway, so I just started doing that, and I was more doing like long form YouTube videos, and I was inserting Toily into famous scenes from movies,
Just
and
like the black cat doing all those. There's that black cat that does that too.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then
Yeah.
at the time, I know there's been some controversy about her, but there wasn't then. But at the time, there was Miranda Sings,
Mhm.
um, and and like I really went back on her YouTube channel. And I go, how did she start? Okay, she started by giving like fake, or she was like, because she thinks she's a wonderful singer, she was going to give voice lessons to the people who are watching because they're not as good as her. And I was like, okay, what could Toily do? Well, Toily will give acting lessons. So
Naturally.
he's going to take famous speeches from movies, but do them better than they were done. And, so you
It's
can't
like
handle the truth from A Few
Star
Good Men.
Search.
Yeah.
Toiling is Star Search.
Yeah. So Toily is going to do a better monologue than Jack Nicholson, or whatever. And
You can't handle the poop.
right, exactly. So then it was him giving acting tips. Like when you go into a room for an audition, shake everybody's hand and do not take no for an answer. So like those were the kind of acting tips, like just horrible advice that you wouldn't give to
What can you
anybody.
do for me? Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so then, yeah, like in 2000, it was the very end of 2019. I took a online kind of like creator workshop called I hate the name of it because the name sounds so like woo woo, but it's the path.
Uh,
And it's a way to break down your goals into manageable little chunks. I mean, there's a million different kind of things that
well,
do
people
this.
like ADHD, like I do, that's perfect.
Yeah. Well, and this one, what I liked about this class was it's focused on creators because, like,
Mhm.
all those other ones are like business and software design and all this, but this was like for creators. How do you deal with your negative inner coach and all this other stuff? Um, so I took that class, and so I put this plan and was like, okay, at the end of 2020, no, I'm sorry. So that was 2008, end of 2018. So I was like, at the end of 2019,
Mhm.
I want Toyley's YouTube channel to be monetized. That was my goal. That was
That's
my
that's a
only
that's a
goal.
decent goal. Yeah.
Was I want to start making some money from Toyley. I want his channel to be monetized.
Mhm.
And then in January 2019,
Mhm.
I did a show at Flappers, a kid show at Flappers, not with Toyley or anything. I just because I would do kid songs too. So it
Yeah.
was just doing my kid songs because I was a
And you don't
substitute
have
teacher.
kids, right?
No,
You
I
got
don't have any kids.
yeah, you're like me. You just forgot, right?
Because I had substitute teaching and I
Yeah,
was like, that's
that's birth
plenty.
control. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've enough with the kids. They're lovely and they go home at 3.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Just thank you for your child. Yes.
yes. Uh, so and there was another performer who was a bubble artist. Megan makes bubbles. She's
Oh,
fantastic.
yes, I've seen yes.
And she so I followed her on social, like we started chatting during the show and I followed her on social media. And
Mhm.
then she posted a thing where she had like 18,000 TikTok followers. And I was like, holy cow, that is incredible.
Yeah.
That's such a big number. That's amazing. And so I was like, do I have a TikTok account? And apparently Toily had because they were Musically first and then they became TikTok. And so
Well, that's right. That's right.
I had
And
set up Toily with a Musically account
mhm.
before it became TikTok. And so he was already there, but I hadn't posted any videos. And I started learning about it. And I was like, oh, if you get 1,000 followers, you can go live. And that was my goal. I was like, I just want to go live
Right.
Like making videos, fine, I'll do that. But I like live performing. I like live puppets interacting with people and whatever.
Yeah.
So um, I remember it's like January 25th or 26th of 2019.
Hmm.
I posted my first video,
Hmm.
and I think I posted 2 or 3 videos. Within 24 hours, I had 1,000 followers, so I could
Easily.
go live. So then I just started going live like every week I would go live, and my numbers just kept growing and
Yeah, he
growing and growing.
cascaded.
Yeah.
Totally cascaded.
And so by October, I had 1 million followers on TikTok, and well, he did, not me. He'll get mad at me if I say me. Um, and then I found a way during the live streams to kind of go, well, I have a YouTube channel too. So if you want to check out my YouTube channel, so my numbers started going up there. And by the end of the year, I was able to monetize the channel
Wow.
because, so I'd achieved that goal. But at the time it was like, well, kind of forget YouTube. TikTok is taken off.
Yeah.
And then by another year after that, I had 3 million followers on there, and I've kind of plateaued now. There's a lot of reasons for that, but so it was like a big, yeah, it was crazy, and it was, I mean, the pandemic. What was the
I
number
was
one
going to say, what
topic
were
at
you
the
going to
beginning?
do? YouTube. Yeah.
But also, what was the number one topic at the beginning of the pandemic? Toilet paper,
Yes,
right?
that's right.
So he already had 1 million, and like he zoomed to over 2 million because of the toilet paper shortage. Because I would do videos of him like hiding and trying to avoid people
Yes.
because
I remember
everyone
some
wanted,
of those.
yeah, toilet paper. So,
Those are great. Those are really fun too. Um, so then you suddenly out of the ether, Jonah Ray and those guys enter your life again. So the Mystery Science Theater people enter your life. So what
well,
happened there?
that actually goes back to Dr. Floyd because Michael Rayner, who is hilarious. I don't. Do you know Michael Rayner? He does juggling. He balances like a
Yes.
wheelbarrow on
Yes,
his
yes, yes,
head,
yes,
and
yes, yes.
Barbara was his manager too. So him and I are friends.
Nice.
And one day I had him do a voice on Dr. Floyd, and he was just chatting, and he saw, like, because we recorded in my apartment, he
Uh-huh.
saw that I had Mystery Science Theater DVDs or whatever, and he was like, "Oh, well, Joel goes to my church," and I was like, "What? Really?" I was like, "Is there any way you could ask him to like come do a voice on the show? Because I would love Joel Hodgson to come do a voice on the show." And he
Yeah.
was like, "Well, I'll ask him and I'll see." And then a couple weeks later, I saw Michael, and he was like, "Oh, Joel wants me to give you his number. You can totally call him up. He'll come do it." So Joel came and played Blackbeard the pirate
Wow.
on a couple episodes of Dr. Floyd.
Wow.
And I just thought it was funny because the bloodthirsty pirate, but it's Joel's voice going, "Hey, come on, guys." Just he was real like,
No,
we're
he's
gonna,
still like laid back and like,
yeah. Um, and
okay,
so then
guys.
he liked how the episode turned out.
Uh-huh.
And so he said, it was like a month or so later, he reached out to me and he was like, my brother and I do these big events called Super Ball, and we want to create like this audio soundscape where people are in this courtyard, but there'll be speakers all around them, and it'll sound like on the other side of the fence is like a theme park. So we want roller coaster sounds and like a parade going by, and kids and everything. So
Yeah.
he's like, "Could you do that?" So I like one of my first things was I made like I think it was a half-hour long loop, of theme park sounds, and sound designed it and everything.
That's
And then I got
brilliant.
invited to the party, which was fantastic, which was great. And then he was like, "Oh, Rhino at the time they were doing Mystery Science Theater DVDs, and
Hmm.
we want to kind of shoot this thing, but we don't have the sound of the satellite of love, like the just the background sound." He's like, "Is there any possible way that you could recreate that sound?" And I remembered that there was one episode of the show where
Uh-huh.
there was just Gypsy, the character of Gypsy,
Yeah.
GPC now, staring at the camera, and nobody is saying anything, but it's just the sound. So I was able to like isolate that and then pull the sound from it. And then he was very happy.
Oh,
And
it's
so then
brilliant.
he started, this is a long story, but he
That's
started Cinematic Titanic. And when he announced that, I sent him an email and I was just like, "I will sweep the floors. I will go get coffee. Whatever you want me to do, I would just love to be involved. If you need help writing, if you need whatever it is."
yeah.
And so he said, we have a job for you.
Uh-oh.
And it's a job that Frank did during the first episode, and he said he would never ever do again. And I was like, what is it? I'll do it, whatever it is. And so it was basically watching these old movies and recreating the shooting script. And so,
Wow.
like you're watching, like now you would just feed it into a
Yeah, and the AI
transcriber
would
and
do it. Yeah.
it would do it automatically.
Yeah.
And so, like it was literally sitting there watching the movie. So not the first movie. I think they did 12 movies. I
Hmm.
did all those movies, just watching them frame by frame, writing the script. Um, and then they let me like do like a little guest thing really quick. Like I came in as an extra basically in one of the episodes,
That's so
which was fun. But then a couple years later,
hmm
I've been working for them. Joel had since moved to the East Coast. He lives out on the East Coast. And
hmm
then he said, "Hey, I'm going to be in LA. Would you want to meet for coffee?" And I was like, "Yep." And I remember, you'll know where this is, the Sportsman's Lodge.
Yes, of
So
course.
we met at the Sportsman's Lodge,
Yes.
and he's like, "Well, let's go across the street to go to Starbucks."
Mhm.
And that's, Ventura Boulevard. It's 4 lanes. It's this big,
It was
wide
just it was a trip on over.
thing. Well, we're standing there, and I'm like, "Well, are we going to walk down to the crosswalk, which is down here?" But he's like, "No, we'll just cross here." And then he goes, "So anyway, I'm thinking about bringing Mystery Science Theater back, and I would he had come and seen Puppet Up because Puppet Up was on the East Coast, and
Yeah.
he and I don't think he thought of me as a puppeteer,
Mhm.
and but until he
Oh,
saw
because
that
he hadn't
show.
even I was gonna say he hadn't even seen your stuff, right?
Yeah, no, I think he just thought I was like an audio guy or
Wow.
whatever. And then he saw the Puppet Up in Pennsylvania. And then so we're standing there on on Ventura or whatever. And he goes, "So I'm bringing back Mystery Science Theater, and I would really love for you to puppeteer Crow." "Okay, let's go." And then he takes off across the street, and I'm like, "What?" And then I follow him. And so get to the other side, like, "Wait, are you serious?" And he was like, "Yeah, I want you to because I saw you puppeteer." And so
That's
that
what you
started the process. It was a couple years after that before it finally got off the ground. But so I was the lead puppeteer. I didn't voice Crow. Hampton Yount voiced
right.
Crow for the series, but I was the lead puppeteer on Crow. And I brought my friend Russ Walco, who built Toiley, in with me. So he was the lead puppeteer on Tom Servo.
Which is
And
great.
so we did all the reboot stuff. And it was a dream come true because it was a show I discovered in high school.
And then
And
you toured with it.
yeah, yeah. I went on 2 of the tours with them, which was great. I love going across the country, so it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was really great. And I got to Joel added in a character for both Russ and I to play in the show. So this character M. Waverly, who's like this little annoying robot. But I love him because he's kind of the smallest robot,
Yeah,
and he's really easy to puppeteer compared to the other ones. So you can
I
do a
can
lot of fun
imagine.
things with him. So, to be part of the Mystery Science Theater world is a dream come true.
Jealous. Yes, I am. That's so cool. I mean, the people you meet. I mean, I got into Penn and Teller just for happenstance too. It's kind of a weird thing, and that whole world. But and it's amazing, when you're watching somebody as in your 20s or whatever, and I was watching them in New York and going to their shows and saying, "Oh my God, how am I ever going to be, named like these guys and get to work with these guys?" And it happens. It just does.
Yeah.
You just fall into them. If it's meant to be, you just fall into them. And you were one of those people that like that's an opportunity. I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah. And the learning, so much learning. That's one thing I really admire too, is anybody that spends their whole time learning more about themselves and their capabilities and how they can do more and stuff. That's what I mean. I'm trying to do that with the show. I'm trying to do that in life, but that's why I get so amazed by people like you. It's like, yes, he's just doing it. And he's much like myself. I'm never going to retire. It's just going to keep happening because it'll implode.
Yeah.
It will just be horrible.
Yeah.
You get all of this going on. How, you guys have been married a while, yeah?
Oh Christ. Tell me you're going to ask this question. We got married in 2009.
I was gonna say you've been but you guys have been together for a while.
Yeah.
How does the bride handle all of the infamy of being a puppeteer?
Oh, well, she's got the real job. So this is all possible because she's got a very nice job where she makes very nice money.
That's
But she's very, very supportive, and she, she helps out. Like I do a live stream every Sunday.
Mhm.
called the Squat, Toiley's Squat. Um,
You got to pop the
and
spot.
so she comes and like runs the comments. She'll like while I'm over here, she'll run the comments and put comments up on the screen and
Oh, that's great.
so she's very, very supportive and like when was that? Back in April, like I did a live show with a couple other comedy musician people, Henry Phillips and Bill
Mhm.
Larkin and
Oh, that was great.
Carla Ulbrich
Oh, that's so
and
cool.
and then Toyley. And so like she came and helped run the door, the tickets and all that kind of stuff.
I'm
So
picturing Toiley on a piano with a cigar. Hello, darling. How
that's
are
pretty much what it is.
you?
Him
Where's my
telling us stories.
a little martini with a maraschino cherry? Uh, it's so cool. So, what is your next big project? You've got to have big projects going on.
Um, I have something very cool that I probably even
You
shouldn't say
can't even talk about it.
I've
Yeah,
worked on, but I can't talk about.
that's fine.
But the moment is released, I'm going to tell everybody about it because
Cool.
it's amazing.
It's so
Um,
cool.
and it's one of those things where there was absolutely no pay involved, but this is something where it's like when this comes to you, you say, yes, I'm going
Yeah.
to do this. So I'm very excited about that. Right now, Toyley has a really great, in my opinion,
Mhm.
but in other people's opinions, because we've done it a couple times, he's got a great hour, 15-minute long show.
Nice.
And so right now, I'm really trying to figure out how to book that, and it's difficult because it's such a weird show because it's a talking roll of toilet paper. And immediately people are like, is this an hour long of poop? Like, what are you talking about? Like for this thing. And like I went and did this, there was a puppet festival in Northern California,
Mhm.
and I just did a 5-minute set with Toyley. And the woman who books the venue came up to me afterwards. She was like, you are so funny. And I was like, oh, thanks. And she was like, do you have like a longer show? And I go, yep, I could do an hour and 15 minutes. I can do an hour. I can do 45 minutes. I can do whatever you need.
I can give
And
you a tight five. I can give you a tight 45.
yeah, it's,
Yeah.
it's all ready to go. And then she said, she's like, okay, well, I'm going to give you my card and send me your information. And I sent, and I just haven't heard anything back. And I can just imagine that it's her
Hmm.
trying to convince the rest of the people at this venue because she saw the show, but
Yeah.
she's like, no, trust me, it will work,
You need to send a video of proof of concept to people. It's
Yeah, well,
like,
I mean, we have a promo video. We have a tech writer. And it's just one of those things where you got to keep knocking on doors, and then finally,
just
um, a friend of mine, a great friend in the puppetry world, had a spreadsheet
uh,
that she got of cabaret bookers, and I was like, this is because Toyley's thing is kind of
that
like a
would make
cabaret.
sense. That would make sense. That's
So
brilliant.
it's just the sitting down and going through these 200 names and sending emails to all of them um, to
Oh
do
no, not
this.
email. Poor you. I'm thinking
No, I
about the
know,
old
but
days
it's
when we used to have
just
to load tapes into the things.
yeah, when you're editing videos and all that other kind of stuff because this is kind of a one-man show here.
It's
So
a time thing. Yeah.
yeah.
I ended up hiring somebody to do the editing for us. Hi, Mohammed. He's in Pakistan. So we
Thank
got a
you.
whole thank you very much, Mohammed. We got a whole international crew. We got a gal that does the website. We got a gal that does our artwork. She's in Ukraine. We got a gal in Santa Clarita that does our animation who's going to be on the show.
Excellent.
So yeah, go Cal
Yeah.
Arts. So there's so many cool things. So are there things that you never got to do yet that you want to try doing?
Well, I mean, still in the Toily world, I have a concept for a game show,
Hmm.
that Toily could be the host of, and called On the Roll or In the Bowl, because that's kind of Toily's motto. Um, and so right now, here's the thing is, I want to film it. I want to film it in front of an audience. And so
Hmm.
I've been looking at little theaters in the Burbank, NoHo area. And what I'm coming across is there's a lot of little great little spaces
Hmm.
that don't have good sound systems.
Oh,
And because
that
I'm behind a thing with Toily, I need to be mic'd and I
yeah,
need to be able to, and then John's playing piano, that needs to be into the sound system as well. And then the people need
yeah.
to hear it. Um, so it's trying to find that. And then a friend of mine just like last week was like, why just rent a studio space instead of booking a theater, rent a studio space and just shoot it bring in 10, 12 people to sit in the audience and watch it, but just shoot it that way. And so now it's this whole other thing where it's like, oh, okay, let me explore this.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
even universities and colleges will rent you a studio space when the students aren't in session, which I discovered when I was doing because now I'm doing voiceover work for people. Um, before I
yeah.
got my studio set up, I have an audio studio now. And I have a video studio and an animation studio. So there's three little studio sections in my house now. I bought this house just so I could do artwork. That's
Oh, that's
pretty
awesome.
much it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty
Yeah.
much
We're
it. But
renting
this,
this place. Like if I wouldn't be able to do nearly half the stuff I do if we didn't have this great big room for me to set up
huge.
all these lights and everything.
It makes a difference. And you have the professional mics, makes a huge difference. What type of cameras do you like to use?
That is just a Canon camera. I had a smaller Canon for a super long time and it really did well. And this one is even, I think by now this one's like 6 years old, but
Wow,
it shoots in 4K, so it's more than and most of the time really I'm shooting on the iPhone.
that's cool.
I have a way to hook up a monitor because puppeteers we use a monitor to see how the puppet looks on the screen. So, but
I
I
was gonna say you
figured,
have to make sure you're framed properly and
yeah,
yeah.
you have
I
to
am
be your
over
own
here.
director when you're puppeteering. You're like kind of your own director. Um,
I was just picturing, watching Frank Oz that one time I got to see him, and he was doing this and this and this and this and this. It's
yeah,
like, how do you know where things are? It's like, oh, he's got a monitor down there. It's cool.
yeah.
But you
So,
could, yeah,
I figured out how to hook it up to the iPhone, so I do that a lot.
nice.
You know, so yeah, I don't know. I don't, my friend Russ and I were working on. He had an idea for a show, and he very graciously was like, "Oh, and I want you to be the lead character." So I was like, "Okay." So he's working on the puppets for that. We're hoping to shoot stuff in the next couple weeks or so
That's so
for
cool.
that. And
I saw
um,
Heather Hansen do a butterfly thing that was a brilliant piece. She just had these little pieces of cloth and she turned them into butterflies just by holding a piece of a rope underneath them and a piece of a dowel. And I'd never seen
yeah,
anything like it before. It's just the Henson family is just astonishing. And then to watch you do stuff and just like form and make and create. Who would have thought Google eyes on a piece of toilet paper? I mean, come on.
who would have thought it?
Who would have thought? It's like, what's this big claim to fame? Well, Mr. Carson, it's
The
like,
talking roll of toilet paper.
I know when you were 16 years old, you wouldn't have looked at your life and gone, this is where it's going.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. Yeah,
It's pretty wicked gold. Huh?
it
I
is. It is very cool. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful.
It's just astonishing. And I can just see you and Weird Al doing a video together, sooner or later. You got
We
to.
did Henson did for when Chris Hardwick had the Nerdist
Oh yeah.
channel.
Yes.
We There was a video where it was like Weird Al was doing a press conference and all the people in the press were puppets. They were all like the puppet up puppets. So I did get to work on that thing and he was very nice like because I in 2003 I opened for Weird Al on one of his tour dates and he was so super supportive and afterwards he was like that was a great set like as I'm going off stage and he's coming on he was like that was so good. I was like oh man thanks. And so I didn't even think he'd remember me and like he came up to me in this thing he's like how you doing, it's so good to see you.
We never
um
hired you again.
well, no. It wasn't. It was because it was the venue that hired me, so it
Oh, okay.
wasn't.
Oh, that's still very cool.
He wasn't picking. He wasn't picking the acts. So
Cool. That's
yeah,
very cool, though. The fact that the venue said, you're good enough to be opening for Weird Al. That's
yeah.
pretty awesome. And
Well,
I
that
would
was.
say,
I got to thank Barbara Holiday. Barbara Holiday called me one day and she goes, "Are you sitting down?" And I said, "Why?" And she goes, "Well, they called me looking for this other comic and he's not available." But I said, "What's this for?" They said, "Opening for Weird Al." And she's like, "I got the guy." So
perfect guy. Oh my
yeah,
God.
it
You
was
are the
really awesome.
luckiest human being I've ever met in my life.
I'm very
And
lucky.
you are. But
Yeah.
you know what? Your luck isn't all because you just fell into it. Your luck is because you've been working your ass off. And that is really impressive. I am so in awe of you. I've been in awe of you for decades, and I'm probably going to continue being
Well,
in
I
awe
appreciate
of
that. I
you
hope to continue awing you.
I'll just walk around going,
And I hope it's not like, oh. Why'd he do that? I don't know what could be worse than toilet paper, but I'm sure there's something.
I could think of a few things.
Okay, let's not go
Yeah,
there.
let's not go there. I do have to scoop kitty litter boxes every day. So those are Google AI places I haven't used yet. Yet.
Yeah.
But Grant, we have talked for just about an hour and 10. I know we're taking up all your time, but I wanted to actually a little less than that because of the dogs, but I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my little bitty toes all the way up to my curly red hair, for every minute you have been in my life.